Hey everybody, it's Gabby, giving you inspiration for your style and soul. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Gabrielle Clark, a self-taught fashion designer and content creator. For a living, I create Africa-inspired bags and clothing, and I sell them to people in Jamaica and all over the world. However, on YouTube, I teach you how to make your own clothes as well as share some tips based on my experience on how you can live your best life through conscious awareness. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make a spaghetti strap dress, because living your best life doesn't only mean being good on the inside, it also means looking good on the outside and being able to give yourself the things that you want and love. So grab your utensils, all the equipment that you need, and your excitement and enthusiasm, and let's make this pattern. For this tutorial, you're gonna need pattern paper, a ruler, a French curve, which they also call an F curve for all those armhole curves and the neckline curves that we're gonna do in the pattern, a book along with a pen. You're going to need scissors to cut your pattern. You're also going to need a tape measure to take your measurements, along with a pencil. And if you're gonna need to sharpen the pencil, which you most likely will, you will also need a sharpener. You will need to take the following measurements. Shoulder length from the root of your neck to the tip of your shoulder. Across shoulder from the tip of one shoulder to the tip of the next. Shoulder to across chest from the top of your shoulder to your armpit crease. Across chest from one armpit crease to the next. Bust point from the top of your shoulder to your nipple. Bust circumference, which is around your bust / breasts. Center front length from the root of your neck to your navel, which would be your waistline. Length of the dress from the root of your neck to how long you want the dress to be. Waist to hip from your waistline to the fullest point of your hip. Waist circumference around your waist. Hip circumference around your hip. To begin, you first draw a vertical line that represents the length of your dress plus 3 inches. Then you will draw 2 vertical lines, one at the bottom that represents your hemline and one at the top that represents the top of your dress. From there, you will measure 3 inches out from the edge of the horizontal line, as well as 3 inches out from the edge of the vertical line, and square down to form a square. You can use your L square to get that done, or you can just use your ruler and your judgment to form that square. Once that's done, you're going to indicate from that 3-inch mark that we just made on the horizontal line what your shoulder length is. Once you've indicated that, you're going to use your shoulder to across chest measurement plus 1 to draw a vertical line from the mark that we just made for your shoulder. So that's what I'm doing right here. I actually did not remember to add the 1 inch to my shoulder to across chest measurement, and so I had to redraw that shoulder to across chest line. So as you'll see, I'm doing here, I'm measuring down an additional inch, and then I'm establishing a new line. That line that we just drew was the across chest line. And what you saw me do just now was indicate on that across chest line what my across chest measurement is divided by 2. And then I measure from the 3-inch line on that vertical going down to what my center front length is. And the line you just saw me draw represents my waistline. From that waistline measurement, you're going to measure down your waist to hip measurement and square across from the vertical line like you saw me do just now. On the waistline, you are going to indicate your waist measurement divided by 4, and then your hip measurements divided by 4 on the hip line, and you're going to pretty much do the same measurement for the waistline on the hemline. So I just labeled waist, hip, and hem. 2 inches down from my across chest measurement, I'm going to draw a horizontal line which represents my bust line. That's 2 inches down from the across chest line. On that line, I am going to indicate my bust measurement divided by 4. And I've labeled my across chest as well as my bust line. So you want to label your pattern so that you know exactly what falls where. Then I'm using my ruler to connect all those marks that I made on my horizontal lines. So as you can see, the shape of the individual who this dress is being made for is now coming to life. You draw from that shoulder length that you indicated up top, and you blend it in with your across chest, and then you use the French curve to make a curve for the armhole, and you also use your French curve to smoothen out the curve for the waist and the hip. As well as the neckline. Now we're going to add the spaghetti strap design to the pattern. First, I am indicating 1 inch down from the shoulder line, and I'm drawing a slanted line to meet with the tip of the square. Then I measure half of the shoulder length and mark that, and I measure down and I indicate what my bust point is. I can now go ahead and mark the point where I want the peak of my spaghetti strap triangle to stop. I was going to blend it in with the armhole, but then I decided that I would bring it down by 1 inch. Then I used the French curve to draw the armhole and then the neckline. As you can see, I soon realized that maybe that 1 inch was a little bit too drastic and it would cause some side boobs. So if you want side boobs, then go ahead with that initial curve. Here I am drawing in an arrow that shows that this part of the dress should be placed on the fold. We call this the center front. So I'm labeling my pattern so that every time I use it, I will know exactly what it's for. To find out the length of the strap that we'll need for the dress, we'll measure from the tip of the peak to the shoulder, and then from the tip of the shoulder to the bust line, and record that measurement. At the side seams and the hem of the dress, you're going to measure 1/2 inch, and you're going to join those lines to indicate the seam allowance. Don't need any seam allowance for the top because we're going to add piping there, which would be extra fabric anyway. Now I'm cutting out the pattern from the pattern paper using my scissors. Cut along the line that I established with the seam allowance, and for the top I am cutting along the original line that we established, so we don't have any seam allowance there. And then I go ahead and cut along that center front line. Again, that's what's going to be placed on the fold, so when we cut out our dress we will end up with one whole front piece as opposed to a half that we see here. Bringing my pattern paper down so that I can trace over the back pattern. So once you cut out your front pattern, you're going to place it on to pattern paper again and trace around. So I'm tracing around all the edges of my pattern, and once I've done that, we're going to take the ruler and draw a vertical line that will basically chop off that top piece there that has the peak. I'm labeling my pattern to say that it's the back, and I don't need to add any seam allowance because I already added seam allowance. That line I'm cutting along right now will represent the line that we'll again place on the fold when we're cutting out the dress itself. So I measure along the back piece and add that same measurement to what the armhole would be. So I add the length of the back plus the length of the armhole, and the measurement I got, I pretty much drew that into the form of a rectangle, which is 1.5 inches wide, and the length would be equal to the armhole plus the back of the dress. But remember that this is only a half of the dress itself. So now I would have to multiply that by 2 to get what the actual length would be. And you'll see how all of that falls into place when we actually do the video for the dress itself. Next, I will measure from the center front of the front of the dress to the top of the peak right there, and I'll multiply that measurement by 2. So I draw what the length of that would be, and I add that to the length of the strap that we measured earlier. You cut that from the paper, measure it as the strap for the front as well as the body, and now we have 2 strap pieces, a front and a back. Now we can go ahead and stitch the dress. Catch you in the next video. So that's it. You now have a pattern for a spaghetti strap dress. So anytime you want to make a spaghetti strap dress, you can go back to this pattern. In the next video, I'm going to be showing you how exactly to use this pattern to create a spaghetti strap dress. If you like this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe for new videos every week. Turn on your post notifications so every time I post a new video, you'll be notified. Check out the blog post version that I did of this video along with how to sew the actual spaghetti strap dress. Check out all the other awesome videos on this channel. Share this with a friend that you think might like it, and tag me on Instagram in your stories to show me the patterns that you made. Who knows, I may just feature you in my next video. Again, until next time, thank you so much for watching. Go out there and live your best life, because you only got one.